Above all else, George R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire has garnered the reputation of popularizing gray morality. There are no black and white heroes and villains, no good guys versus bad guys. There are only virtuous people who sometimes make evil decisions, and evil people who sometimes make virtuous decisions. Therefore, it may come as a surprise that there is an aspect of A Song of Ice and Fire that depicts an archetypal conflict of good versus evil in stark clarity. One must look no further than to compare and contrast the Brotherhood Without Banners with the Brave Companions. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Exploring Fiction. While the Brotherhood Without Banners and the Brave Companions only engaged in physical confrontation sparingly across the narrative, the mere manners of their respective existences reflected a dichotomy as old as time. The Brotherhood was a coalition of dejected and disillusioned soldiers who took it upon themselves to serve the downtrodden people of the land. The Brave Companions were a hired gaggle of foreign mercenaries who pillaged, plundered, and razed the land, all in service to coin. While the motivations of the former company were admirable, those of the latter were despicable. And though they did clash in battles during the War of the Five Kings, it was those motivations that highlighted the true conflict between the Brotherhood and the Brave Companions. Well, A Song of Ice and Fire is renowned, and even reviled, for its lack of clear-cut morality. The differences between two similar groups, the Brotherhood Without Banners and the Brave Companions, show that such an ancient conflict as good versus evil holds some prevalence in nearly every story to ever be told. So, who exactly are the Brotherhood Without Banners and the Brave Companions? How do their actions and motivations differ? And how does this illustrate the archetype of good versus evil within A Song of Ice and Fire? Let's explore. It is not the duty of all knights and soldiers to stand atop castle walls or in formations out on the plains of battle. Some men are tasked with far loftier burdens. When Lord Eddard Stark commands the rogue giant Sir Gregor Clegane be brought to justice, he handpicks a troop of renowned knights and fighting men to ride out into the wild on behalf of King Robert Baratheon. Leading the charge is Lord Beric Dondarrion, with the Pink Priest Thoros of Myr ever by his side. In their initial meeting with the Mountain, Beric falls to the Brute, surviving just long enough to see twilight fall on the battle he'd sworn to win. But, in an act of divine providence, Thoros brings Beric back to life, so the fight may continue. King Robert and Lord Eddard are hardly so lucky, however, and soon, the crown Beric and his men had pledged their allegiance and their task toward had crumbled into unrecognizable dust. The Seven Kingdoms are fractured by the claims of 5 kings, but the Lightning Lord and his men fight in the name of none. Instead, they declare the true king to be the departed Robert Baratheon, paving their way to the lifestyle of the outlaw. What was at first a company of soldiers with one simple, yet not easy, task, has become a party loyal only to a deceased monarch and each other, and the Brotherhood Without Banners is formed. Though after the final death of Beric Dondarrion, the Brotherhood's actions and motivations become questionable, during the Lightning Lord's reign, it spreads true justice throughout the Riverlands. The common folk are besieged on all sides by all factions of the war, even the Northmen, and thus share no love for any one king. The Brotherhood, however, acts as the voice and the sword for the downtrodden, clashing with any and all who harry the small folk and dispensing food and coin amongst the lowborn. They come to see this as their divinely appointed task, and win the favor of the peasantry. What's more, the members of the Brotherhood Without Banners, all uplifted to knighthood by the Lightning Lord, offer their enemies more quarter than any organized army. They hold fair, regulated trials, which is more than most lords and ladies in their civilized castles can claim. A company of wayward knights, now labeled outlaws, have won the hearts of the people. Though they are criminals in the eyes of the organized powers of the land, the knights that make up the Brotherhood Without Banners display collective virtue, devotion, and a propensity for justice. From across the sea, another band of outlaws sails to Westeros to test their mettle in the War of the Five Kings. The brave companions, however, are far from righteous. Known in private as the Bloody Mummers, the brave companions are a despicable lot of sellswords and criminals from Essos, led by Vargo Hoat of Qohor. They take as their standard the very same black goat of that land, with bloody horns that shamelessly depict the truth of their nature. Even before the War of the Five Kings, however, the brave companions garner a horrid reputation, as they are known to incessantly torture their enemies through various methods, including severing limbs and extremities long before they grant the release of death. But after the fall of Robert Baratheon and later Ned Stark, Vargo Hoat and his diverse band of villains see grand opportunity in the collapse of the Seven Kingdoms. First they align with Lord Tywin Lannister and his forces, and fall into similar company aside Sir Gregor Clegane and Sir Amory Lork. Vargo and the brave companions terrorize the Riverlands, burning and breaking to their heart's content. But as the young wolf carves a path of vengeance in his journey south and west, the brave companions spy a new power emerging in the war. After Tywin's departure from Harrenhal, the brave companions strike an agreement with Lord Roose Bolton, joining Robb Stark's blossoming northern regime in exchange for Harrenhal. Yet, their actions and attitude do not shift with their allegiance. Still they ride forth as harbingers of cruelty and torture, caring only for profitable destruction. Peaceful smallfolk are as much the enemy as opposing soldiers, whom the Bloody Mummers treat with pure scorn, and the already overlooked people of Westeros are punished further still through the actions of the brave companions. But the war takes its toll on the band of outlaws. Roose Bolton allies with Tywin despite Vargo's maiming of Jaime on fake behalf of the Lord of the Dreadfort. The Goat of Qohor then falls ill from an infected wound suffered when forcing himself upon Brienne of Tarth, and when Tywin learns of Vargo's betrayal, he sends the Mountain to put the entire company to the sword. Though some members of the brave companions survive in secluded sects, Sir Gregor performs his task to near perfection, especially savoring the death of Vargo Hoat. The Brotherhood Without Banners and the brave companions clash on multiple occasions within the pages of A Song of Ice and Fire, but the true dichotomy, the true contrast, the true struggle between the two groups lies in their similar yet opposing natures. Both the Brotherhood and the Companions are made up of outlaws. These fighters have been deemed criminal by the governing forces of their respective homelands, and thus take the chaos of the war to their advantage. The Brotherhood Without Banners are unburdened with any higher mortal power, and so make the people of Westeros their masters. They provide the small folk with food, coin, and protection from all sides of the war. They offer sanctuary from the steel of Stark and Lannister alike, and offer veneration only in secret to the Lord of Light. Contrastingly, the brave companions bend the knee to any and all who yearn for their services, determined mostly by coin, land, and the outlook of the war at large. Their reputation is that of cruel, foreign savages, reviled even by the most ruthless men of Westeros. Vargo Hoat and his cohorts fit right in with the Mountain and Amory Lork, until the tide of battle shifts in favor of Robb Stark. But the brave companions do not align their principles with those of whoever their current master may be, and so burden their employers with their foul history. And so, well, A Song of Ice and Fire is filled with characters and conflicts full of troubled morality. the comparison of the Brotherhood Without Banners against the Brave Companions is quite plain. The two companies are clearly meant to draw associations with one another. They share similar origins as bands of guerrilla warriors dropped into a war between noble factions. But in all else, they differ greatly. On the side of good is the Brotherhood Without Banners, whose members use their position to aid the true victims of the war and fight for real justice. On the side of evil is the Brave Companions, a party of despicable sellswords that offer their services to the highest bidder and treat all with unnecessary contempt and cruelty. In a story whose setting takes pride in its clouded morality and complex maze of decisions and consequences, the Brotherhood Without Banners versus the Brave Companions stands out as a reminder that almost all stories include the baseline conflict of good against evil to some extent. All things must come to an end. For the Brotherhood Without Banners, that end was the resurrection of a scorned mother through the passing of their undying leader. For the Brave Companions, it was the decimation of their forces as a result of too much treachery. Yet, while each faction towered at the height of their influence, they fought on opposite sides of both the physical and moral spectrum. The Brotherhood stood for justice in a land that saw none, while the Companions were a pillar of brutality even amongst their ruthless brethren. There was never a clearer example of good versus evil, even in the world of ice and fire, where no man, king, or kingdom was ever what they seemed. In A Song of Ice and Fire, the Brotherhood Without Banners versus the Brave Companions was a microcosm of good versus evil. So, that's all for this video. Leave a comment with your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new here. I'd love to have you. Visit my website, russellawellsauthor.com, for exclusive reviews, fiction, and more. And sign up for my mailing list for free exclusive content. The links for both are in the description below. And, like always, I will see you next time.